Hello. Yeah, yeah, it's been a day. Yeah. Well, it's more just like depression today, really. I feel like it's really got a hold of me this year compared to the past few years or so. I don't know what to do about it. I am sorry that it is basically destroying the streams. Yeah, it's really been a lot of stuff. I have not consulted a depressionologist. I've been finding that I've been really low motivation has been the kind of characteristic of late. There's things that I want to do that I would enjoy, I think, but for whatever reason, I can't seem to muster up the motivation to do them. Um, yeah, I guess it's pretty textbook. I've also had more and more trouble finding any sort of joy in anything, which really sucks. I kind of feel like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Just it's just weird. I haven't had anything checked, man. I haven't anything checked in so long. No, I mean, I'm getting stuff done. I'm getting my work done, but it's a struggle too. A lot of the time, it's not just that my work is busy, though it is, but also that I do have enough of a motivation struggle that my day ends up getting like spread out across the whole day, such that like my 9 to 5 is more like, 9 to 9 or beyond sometimes. And it's definitely a bit of that same problem where I'm like, there's some stuff where I have to like force myself to do things, and everything feels like a struggle. My perspective is also that it sucks. It's not just like the goings on in the world, I don't think. It's definitely a contributing factor, but it's not the only factor, you know. Yeah, the everything isn't helping. It's kind of weird how like parasocial it all is. That's something that I've been thinking about lately, where I feel like I'm a part of this in a way that I am definitely not. And I think probably everybody feels that way who is, perhaps too hung up on it, I guess. And so not everyone, but you know what I mean. There's that weird dichotomy of feeling really strongly about stuff and then also being like out on the in the like nothing zone of it, where it doesn't really matter what you think or say, no one really gives a shit. So you're just left with you know no real outlet. You do mention that whenever I bring this up. I've also mentioned before that I'm not looking for advisement, but for some reason we repeat this loop. I know you I know you know too. It's weird. We do this every time. No. It's just that it's stuff that I already know. It's nothing to apologize about, but it's like the things that are wrong with me, you guys aren't gonna be able to fix, and it's not your responsibility to fix. And I've tried things, there's things I haven't done enough of, blah, blah, blah. It's just that whole aspect of it is not, I feel like, worth our time, I guess. Or it's just not like a cycle I want to get into. Yeah, it's totally fine. That's totally fine. I'm not admonishing anybody. I feel bad just getting on, and I don't even know what these are. I guess in some sense it's kind of like trauma dumping. Um, so I feel bad for like subjecting people to that because it's not really your problem. But I also don't have really anything else to talk about. Um, you know, my work isn't interesting or fulfilling in any way. There's nothing to really talk about there. I do mundane things, and so it's just like most of my day is not something that's worth sharing or talking about. And then because of that, I just don't ever really have shit to talk about. And I think maybe the monotony of my job is probably a contributing factor to all this in some sense. Not that I hate my job. I mean, I like doing certain aspects of my job and I like being good at those certain aspects. And I try to cling to that so that I don't feel like I'm losing my mind. I've been obsessing a little bit recently over wishing that we had a house, which is something that I don't know why. Like, that's not something I need in my brain, especially at the worst time for that. But it's also not new. I mean, it's always been a far off distant thing that doesn't seem or hasn't seemed possible for a long, long time. So it's not really new. Taking people out of the equation, how actually is Ohio? Um, I don't know. I'm negatively biased against it because I grew up here. And Ohio is not a very interesting place. At least not in the area where I grew up. It's mostly flat, it's mostly farm. I think Ohio is maybe interesting along the edges. There's there's Appalachia to the southeast, and there's the Ohio River to the south. There's Lake Erie to the north, although Lake Erie is, mm, as far as like bodies of water go, it's mid. I would describe it as mid. Um, but Ohio is just not. It is not blessed with much in terms of like natural wonder. It's really lacking in that regard. Yeah, I guess it's a drive-through state. Like in terms of natural wonder, I would rate Arizona way higher. I lived in Arizona for 20 years. And Phoenix itself, I don't know if I would say it's that great in terms of it's mostly flat and dusty, but it is surrounded by mountains, which is nice. You have something to look at. And Arizona is this weird wedge. I kind of like that um, because it just has this really extreme gradient of nature. The further south you go, the more desert and like red rock, red desert kind of stuff you have, cactus and Joshua trees and tumbleweeds and things. The further north you go, the elevation increases and you start to get pine forests and the rims and lots of interesting land formations in general. And then all the way north, you have the Grand Canyon and snow up in Flagstaff and skiing and stuff. And yeah, Arizona is just a really beautiful state. A lot of variety, a lot of nature. Ohio is mostly a swamp. It's funny because I think it's biome wise, Ohio is a swamp, but it's not a swamp like you imagine. It's not like a I don't know. When I think of swamp, I think of like Louisiana, I guess. I might be mistaken. Maybe Mississippi. I think maybe both. But I imagine like more water, like standing water, and certain kinds of plants and stuff. But I think Ohio is technically also just one big swamp. But it's not even an interesting swamp. Where was the recent haboob? I don't even. Is there any place that gets haboobs other than? I mean, it's really a dust bowl phenomenon. We had them in Phoenix, but they were fairly few and far between. Um, we only had like three or four of significance while I was living there across 20 years. Um, and sometimes they're pretty wild. The really, like I said, of significance, there were some wild ones because it really is like a wall of of dust. It looks insane when it's approaching, and it's really not great to be somewhere like on a freeway or whatever when it hits because it is zero visibility. You just your whole view becomes kind of brownish orange, um, and that's that. You just have to wait for it to pass. You just have to pull over and wait. Yeah, Phoenix is a dusty place. Is one of the downsides. A significant amount of Arizona dust came with us to Ohio. I don't know how much, but there's still like containers that are fucking dusty from Arizona. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of snow. Um, I guess we've been here 5 years now, and I don't like the snow. I don't like the wet. I don't like the cold. I don't like having to get geared up to go outside. I don't like not being able to open the door because there's a pile of snow in front of it. There's lots not to like about snow. I don't like road conditions. I don't like ice. Um, yeah. I also don't like tornadoes. I don't love being back in a tornado zone. It's not great. Happy Thursday, lingue, lingue, lingue. I've kind of given up on trying to figure out a place to live as well is another thing. Like looking at houses is really depressing because when it comes to um, any level of desirability, we're priced out of that. So that really narrows the field quite a lot right there. And in terms of like, you know, bare minimum amenities and size and stuff like that, it's really slim pickings. And it also kind of feels like I don't know where to go that isn't already hell or teetering on hell or something like that. So I have braced myself, Dave. Feel free to launch that volley. And there it is. Oh, I have to not only that, I have to allow or deny it. Let me check now. I'll allow it. Here it is. Reticulating sperms. Anonymous, thank you for the thank you for the 3 month gift sub to Lingue. Mods have allowed your message. Happy chatting. We're still in a situation as well where it's like we could feasibly pull off a a cheaper place if we can find one. But I still have the the various storm clouds of the past following me around. Still have the tax thing, for instance. So I have to figure out how much of a barrier that is. I just imagine we try to get something or we do get something and then immediately the government. It's like that's ours now. I think almost all of those that I get, Dave, have only been fun. Like Automod for me here has only been entertaining. Like I won't name names, but there's been a number of times where I've had to Automod approve the phrase "I hate the French," and it's just funny every time it comes up. There it is. I love to see it. I'll allow it once again. Wow. Oh man, Twitch has really gone woke. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Oh, you have to you have to pluralize it. We have an expert in chat. Yeah. I had a weird sort of existential crisis around all that stuff of late that I can't even really explain, but it feels like there's a certain sort of a new a new kind of level of desperation that has settled over everything. Like a desperation and futility. I've had that too, see. The Twitch chat system just sometimes gives up, I think. It's very finicky or flighty. Hey, cherish that, Dave. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Hell yeah, man. That rocks. Glad to hear it. Jeez, hot damn. That is massive. Unfortunately for myself, I think definitely in the I'm like pressed up against the ceiling of uh like as high as I can go where I am, which I think is also super defeating feeling. It really once you realize that that's the situation, it's so like okay, well what am I doing this for? Just that sort of realization that you're just going to be treading water indefinitely is like okay, all right. So I'm not going to be putting out any of these fires any faster. Oh yeah, that's a trade worth taking. I guess we're both fairly bougie, Dave, at this point. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, relatively, very relatively. I was also just, I was just joking. We're we're so far from bougie. It's ridiculous. But I will say that I did feel bougie just because I had similarly, at the current job that I have, I had achieved levels I'd never had before. But when you're still like still a worm when you achieve those levels, as far as society goes, it's like, oh, I used to think that this was a high level. Yeah, New York is deeply unaffordable. But yeah, I mean, your career path destroys mine. So, I think so. And potential earning stuff and so forth. Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah. Rent is fucking insane in New York. Like in terms of like affordability, it's it's kind of mind-boggling how anybody survives in New York. And also every metro area has gotten massively worse in the past decade or so. And I assume that New York and Los Angeles got proportionately even worse than they were. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, similar kind of similar case in my field where it's like I don't want to be well, I mean, I kind of am. Yeah, my quality of life sucks ass. So, and yet I'm not I'm not really I haven't achieved C-suite. So, it doesn't really feel worth it. But then again, I don't really want that. Jesus Christ, man. 1800 for a studio is it's madness. It's that's insane. This next message is unrelated. uh, it's it's really wild how Cuomo has like um started just regurgitating the things that Mamdani was saying. It's weird. It's like he has like no other strategy left. So now he just says the things that Zoran says. I don't really understand. It's just madness. Well, no, I mean but yeah, he's doing that too. But also he's started saying like here's the weird kind of funny thing that's occurred is that they can't deny that Zoran's policy plans are popular. So they have been put in this weird position where they have to keep calling him a communist and saying that the things that he's promised will never work, and also sort of promise the same things he is because that stuff was popular and he got the nomination. it's it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, that shit's crazy too. Yeah, we were just shooting the shit privately. I tried to put together a funny post about the scavenger hunt, but I blew it because other people had already posted similar things but better. All it was I wanted to post the oh god, what the fuck is his name? It slipped my mind. That the maniac previous mayor, the literal criminal. It's on the tip of my tongue. Adams, yeah. Adams. Yeah, sorry, soon to be previous. Uh I wanted to post the Eric Adams scavenger hunt went wild, and then I cut a clip out from that video that he made a while back, the tutorial for finding drugs in your kid's room, where he like feels up some pillows and then pulls out a fucking revolver from one of the pillows. It's such a classic video. Yep, man. man, like why does anybody like people like Eric Adams? That's what makes me feel super fucking crazy on a daily basis. Like, isn't this the most obvious shithead possible? Don't we all know all the stuff about this guy that we need to know to like never think about or see or hear from him ever again? What is up with that, man? What is up with that? Why don't these people get put in like a little box and mailed away somewhere, never to be heard from again, and instead become the most heard from people possible on a daily fucking basis? Like, we can't get rid of them. We cannot get rid of the worst, most obvious scumbags to ever walk around. And I hate, like, I'm saying this out loud right now, and I can't feel any confidence that I'm not somehow crazy, because the rest of the world is indicating that this is a fine person to have, possibly as a mayor, to have on TV, to be interviewed on the news. Like, all other indications are like, no, this is a normal guy. It does it does kind of feel, Nin, like the new rules are that all you have to do now is like just sort of act like you didn't do anything, and then nothing happens to you. Kind of seems like you can just do whatever, and there's no like laws anymore, or punishment or anything. I mean, above a certain tax bracket, of course. There's still laws for the worms. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Cuomo's he's a straight up monster. Even setting aside, what he did, like in terms of political corruption, he's a known sex pest, which again is also like, why? How are you having this dude on the wake up with your coffee in the morning news? Like, I don't understand. Why is that? Why is that okay? How did that become okay? Another thing about all that sort of shit is I've definitely, I recognize that, like, being engaged with all this shit in the way that I am is absolutely a disease. Um, for which the only cure is like essentially just go outside and do good things. But I'm also far from, I'm not in a place where that is even a viable possibility. I'm in a place where no one around me wants anybody to do or have good things. There's nowhere to like kind of work that stuff off uh anywhere around me. In terms of like going out and doing, spending that energy on like direct action kind of things. But that's really the only thing that you can really do. Posting and arguing online and discourse and all of that shit is doesn't do anything. It's nothing. The only people who have ever made it something, I think, like successfully turned it into something, are the many ghouls who have now wormed their way into every dark corner of the government. The people who got so butthurt, so devastatingly butthurt, that they essentially cooed the government and replaced it with like a grievance list. That's the only real actual success born out of like just posting. Because you have to admit that's a real come up to be like going from like getting butthurt about the way that people talk to you on a forum to becoming the head of the put everyone in cages department of the government. That's a crazy story arc. Hello, Miss Bun. Smallest, littlest dog. Have I lost the town hall? Your silence indicates that everyone hated what I said. Just no notes. I love this tiny dog. This is what I should put all my focus into is this tiny dog. You're so you're so adorable. Oh, I love you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Mwah, mwah, mwah. It's so confusing that you can be a dog and be smaller than a cat. Yeah. I'm enjoying this animal right now. I do want to work on my fitness, but I kind of don't know where to start. And I feel like that's something that's got also like worse and worse with time. Yeah, walking is an obvious thing. Could do that. What I don't like is how convoluted like a healthy diet has become between like the shifting nature of actual science in terms of, for instance, like eggs are bad. Hold on, we think eggs might be okay. No, wait, eggs are definitely bad. Actually, eggs are okay again. And then the the deafening noise of just health influencer bullshit now. It's like where do you even fucking like what is truth? Like that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare territory as far as information goes and finding anything that's like actually of use. It really sucks to know that like if there's a thing that you want to know about, you have to be able to like sift through 99 liars, some of which are influencers, some of which are fucking supplement companies, it's generated blogs. I mean, that's easy to say, Ifa, but how many? It's fairly specific to your own body, right? Also, I have a long-standing beef with the people who do the thing where they say, "Actually, it's thermodynamics. Don't you believe in thermodynamics?" With regards to calories in, calories out, because that is, I think, nonsensical. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff like that. Wasn't there something with oranges as well? There's a shit ton of stuff like that, right? Like oranges are not like oranges and orange juice are not particularly like actually required for a healthy breakfast, but that was a sort of contrivance, a marketing thing because there was a surplus of oranges that needed to be sold, right? Um, so yeah, lots of shit like that. That's the sort of stuff like if you want to like understand why I am the way I am and why I'm like such a jaded, irritated, angry guy is stuff like that goes into the fucking memory banks. It's like the only stuff I retain is just this really long list of all of the fucking like basically corporation related bullshit that has happened to us. And I can't get that out of my mind. Yeah, I eat a varied diet. I don't track calories. I have put on significant weight in the past year, which bothered me. I've never been, well, not never, but I haven't been really fit most of my uh, adult life. I was pretty fit in high school, and then there was a brief period of when we were going to the gym and we had a trainer and stuff. But outside of that, it's like sort of a thing I didn't really particularly worry about that much. But then I've hit the age where like mysterious things start to happen to your body. um, okay, well, I was just being colloquial when I said fit. Okay, I meant like um, I meant I've not been less than pudgy, short of a few brief periods. I always struggle with the ratio stuff and the like the trying to be precise with calories and stuff like that because I feel like it's impossible to actually be precise. That always, I mean, presumably it's not necessary to be all that precise because there's so many aspects to that that bother me. Yeah, like when you cook food, inherently it changes. Like it's losing content through like shedding water as like steam evaporation, so on and so forth. There's that. And then in terms of the way that your body uses stuff, it's not really calories in, calories out. Well, I mean, it's more complicated than that. Is all. Like there's you don't use 100% of the thing whatever it is that you consume. Um so that's confusing. And then the way that you lose calories is all over the place. It's like you sweat it out, you breathe it out. It can be lost through your, like exercise burning fat, but also burning off muscle depending on like the way you're working out and stuff. Like I don't know how anybody stays sane while trying to track that stuff because it would bother me constantly. I'm like I'm tracking basically a sort of fictional. This is a fictional set of numbers that I'm saying represents what's happening here. Abidia, thank you for the raid. I unfortunately am about to hop off, but welcome, welcome. Uh, Oddly enough, we're sort of tangentially talking about that. Very tangentially. We were actually talking about like calories and diet and things along those lines. What's up, Blues? Long time no see. Wow, 170, huh? I haven't been anywhere near that for, boy, not since high school, I would say. Yeah. No, I'm not that. I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm tall AF. I'm 6'2". So my ideal, whatever, supposedly ideal weight is probably in the territory of like between 190 and 200. Okay, all right, sorry. I've never it's weird. I've never felt particularly tall. Maybe I grew up in a tall town or something. I've gained weight in like a mysterious-ish way. I mean, it's not that mysterious because I've probably been eating more, but in a way that's not been like a an obvious identifiable. Do you know what I mean? It's not like something I can easily point to and be like, "Oh, yeah, it's those tubs of ice cream I've been having for breakfast every day." I think that's the problem. You know, it's more so kind of happening invisibly, and I've been kind of chalking it up to like partly age, just like I feel like I haven't changed my habits much, but that my body is not doing things it used to do. But then that might just be the fact that I don't have something to point to. It could just be that I have been eating, in fact, more and just not really because I'm not tracking anything. I don't really know. That's probably that's probably why. God damn. Now, like 6'7" is getting into giant territory. For some reason, I thought you and I were the same height, Avidia. Although to be honest, I guess 5'10" and 6'2" isn't really like a really huge height gap or something. It's just a few inches. If you find it complimentary, I stored you in my memory as the same height as me. I don't really pay that much attention to people's height. Yeah, my dad was taller than me. I don't know what his exact height was, but if I had to guess, I would say he was probably like in the 6'5" ish territory, probably. Because he was always he like once I got to my full height, he was still taller than me. Like what the fuck, man? Come on, the hell. Um, but now he is shorter than me, which is just feels weird. Yeah, my mom was always real short. It is disconcerting, yeah. I guess I'll wait to get my leg lengthening until I'm in my 60s. Hi, Bun Bun. Just get little stilts. Ugh. Stretcher. I still have clear memories of growing pains when I was like in my I guess that would have been like headed towards early teenager years. It's like having a fucking migraine in your legs. Wow, I mean, yeah, always at night when you need to be asleep. Instead, you've got the this horrific pain in your fucking legs all night long. Well, Mister 6'7", maybe your legs were too far from your brain. Do you have an insane shoe size at 6'7"? Because I remember some people from there was at least one person in my class who had to have special shoes made. He's a really tall guy, and I think he had to have his shoe size was something nutty. I don't even really remember, but it was definitely off the normal men's shoe size scale, which I don't remember. I'm looking it up now. This men's ranges from 3.5 to Well, damn, that goes all the way up to 22 inches, at least for Nike's men's. I guess it's more about stocking, though, isn't it? Like, just because they have a size chart that goes all the way up to 22 inches doesn't mean you can find that shit in a store. I think the guy I'm thinking of needed like 19s or something, which is fucking nuts. Like, I'm in the 11 and a half territory. 19 is almost twice my foot. I can't imagine that much foot. 14. That's not too bad. Hmm. Jack, thank you for 15 months. Very much appreciated. Oh yeah, cars. Cars are always a fun one with height. Like I used to borrow a Mazda Miata and I did not fit nicely in that vehicle. It was like driving a go-kart for me with my knees like up beside the steering wheel. I'm like trying to drive between my knees. Yeah, eensy weensy little cars. A fun drive though. Just a tiny little convertible, but it did feel like driving a go-kart really. Yeah, I would imagine you have lots of problems with that food. I have problems and I feel like 6'2" is mostly within the range of accommodated by most cars, but barely. Like in my we have a Civic hatchback and the comfortable position for me to sit in the car, my head is still quite close to the ceiling of the car. I have trouble. I have to like duck down to look at like stoplights and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I've had a little bit of trouble with that sort of thing. Like shirts, I like a longer shirt because oftentimes a standard like shirt cut is a bit on the short side for me. Pants also are kind of annoying to get a long enough leg. Yeah, I hate short shirts and I hate short leg length in pants. Yeah, you're right, Bun. I have gone over time. You're right to be angry. I love when a tiny dog grumbles because they can't help but to be cute. It's not intimidating. Can you not hit the microphone with your tail? Thank you. You're just gonna hit everything else with your tail. Hey, Mr. B. I can say I didn't have too terrible of a time when it came to finding clothes. Um, but the fits weren't always optimal. But I could tell if I were a bit taller, if any of my dimensions were a little bit more in any direction, that the problems would have been much worse. One thing I know for sure, though, is that uh, women have it way worse than men. Way, way worse. In all categories, yeah. Yeah, more variation. I've come to understand that uh, we essentially have not finished inventing the bra yet. It's essentially still not correct. Yeah, no pockets. Women want pockets. Give women pockets. The pocket sizes on men's clothes are insane. In most of my jeans, I could definitely put a Switch 2 in my pocket. And that is not really a pocket sized device. And that's not even like I was seeking out pants with big ass pockets or something. These are just regular ass jeans. Oh, yeah. The fake pocket, very common. Yep. I don't think I could fit an entire 2 liter in my jeans pocket. And uh I haven't been an enjoyer of cargo clothing since high school probably. It's not really my style, but if cargo pockets definitely you could carry some 2 liters around. The OG Game Boy was pretty pocketable. Um Not at the age that I had it. It didn't really fit in a kid-sized pocket, but an adult-sized pocket you could put an OG Game Boy. It's fairly thick. It's pretty thick, but it will fit in there. Haven't worn jeans since 2019. I am a notorious jeans wearer. Even throughout the summer, I don't wear shorts. I just wear jeans, even though it's uncomfortably hot. I am majorly a basic bitch. I don't really think harder than put on t-shirt, put on jean, go do the day. I don't essentially I just don't do fashion. There is some part of me that kind of wants to uh know anything about that. Like just on occasion it would be nice to have something I could describe as a fit. But I definitely do not. I think, well, I mean, board shorts to me are probably like the longest short. Beyond board shorts, you're looking at capris or high waters, which aren't really shorts, right? Well, the thing is though, with actual fits food, I think a lot of that is actually tailored. I don't think you just go to the store and you just, unless you happen to have a body type that is just sort of like in the wheelhouse of everything. I think a lot of that starts to get into the tailoring department. Oh, that kind of swag. We try with Cosmic Crate to try to get the stuff. I the I don't know. There's a lot of like logistical problems with that. A lot of those sorts of things are um, drop shipped essentially. So that's a big problem because you're not creating the stuff and you're beholden to whatever is essentially easily manufacturable. And so the sizes on the fringes often are just left out. They're just not covered. My desire, the trouble is that we don't have the numbers to support, trying to do things the way I wish that we could. If this was a big popular channel or something, maybe. But ideally, in my mind, I would have liked to find like a co-op or get involved with a co-op that that makes the stuff um, sustainably and in a good way with regards to the workers and things like that, and also be able to accommodate a wider array of like custom sizes and things like that. But they do they do exist. Um, a good example, and they actually did a video about it, is what Climate Town did. I would search up that video. It's interesting. Obviously, they had to kind of put their money where their mouth was with regards to like providing merch sustainably and mindfully, you know, rather than just jumping on the drop shipping fast fashion kill the planet pipeline. Kind of would be a tad hypocritical. But the thing is that shit is very difficult and takes a long time and costs more money and effort and is all around just a much more difficult thing to achieve. And it's not really accessible to um, small creators. It would take a larger operation taking smaller groups under their wing to really make something like that accessible. Also, the Majority Report sources their stuff from co-op that does clothing stuff, for instance. So yeah, I know of a few. I don't know about the Yeetie behind the scenes, but if that's a co-op and so on and so forth, that's very cool. I mean, if anything, we're going in the opposite direction, away from that food. Uh, More deregulation. So I don't think we'll be disincentivizing that. On the other hand, the tariff situation is kind of a disincentive, because a lot of drop shipping is based off of the international, you know, basically junk clothing pipeline, right? It's stuff that's like manufactured in China or other countries very cheaply, and can be like made on demand and fired off quickly. But obviously, because of the tariffs, that's an inherently a tax on all of that stuff. So anywho, the littles are getting very angry with me, and that's fair because I've gone quite far over time. But I think hopping on and just chatting was what I needed. I didn't, I don't know. I've, like I said at the beginning, I've been depressed. Nothing felt like a good idea tonight. And I never know what to do when that happens. But some nights are like that. It's just like, nothing feels good. I do not feel like doing anything. And unfortunately, it's been a lot of days recently, and I feel bad that that's been the case. I mean, I guess easy VODs to skip if you're trying to catch up on Death Stranding or something. But yeah. Oh, and I get to ban somebody to cap the night off. That's awesome. Bang. Blow. All right. Well, thanks for hanging, y'all. And I hope you have a beautiful night. As always, I'll be back tomorrow.